Hello, Bible readers. It is Thursday, June 10th. We're reading from a lot of different places: Ezra 4-6, Psalm 137, Haggai 1 and 2, and 1 Peter 3. To start from Ezra, return, rebuild. That's Ezra's first 6 chapters. The Hebrew people do not just return without opposition. It is no new thing in the 21st century to have there be conflict around who gets to be in what we now think of as the Holy Land. The Israelites, the Hebrews, the Jews, have been exiled from what was theirs for generations at this point in Ezra. And so others have stepped in. I mean, this is a fertile area. It's on a trade route. So there is opposition. The Persians, though, proclaim by decree that these Jews deserve to return home. And this, of course, is attributed by the authors of Ezra. This is attributed to God, right? God got the Persians to do what the Persians did to defeat the Babylonians, and are now standing up for the Jews that they could return home. Detailed lists of who and what got returned are followed by specifics of who opposes the Jewish community. And then in chapter 5, we're introduced to Haggai and Zechariah. These prophets will contribute toward the faithful rebuilding efforts. Because remember, this isn't just about stones and mortar. This isn't just a literal building project. It is the rebuilding of a nation's character, the rebuilding of a nation's relationship with God. And so the rebuilding of the temple and putting up the walls is one giant metaphor for God's people coming back to their purpose. Okay, sorry. Psalm 137 is the only psalm in the whole Psalter that can be dated reliably, like quite specifically, because it's a psalm written, obviously, in exile while the Jews are in exile. It's a song about singing, and then, you're reading this psalm and all of a sudden it ends violently, doesn't it? Showing something about prayer, really. What it shows is that we can share whatever's on our mind or heart. Even when it's terrible, we can share that in prayer with God. Haggai. Haggai is written in the second year of King Darius of Persia's reign. The message is very clear. Rebuild the temple to rebuild community. Again, this is not just a transactional moment of putting a building back together. This is a transformational moment when all that was dispersed in exile is brought back together into community, transformed back into community. Rebuild the temple, and you will be giving testimony to God's reign, both in the present and the future. This rebuilt temple will be a monument dedicated to God's reign forevermore. Now you might wonder, why are these motivations neat? Like, why does Haggai need to say all this? Don't they all know this? Well, rebuilding the temple isn't just a matter of people power, although that's a big part. It also takes wealth. These people don't have as much as they had generations ago. They've been living in exile in other people's land. And so to rebuild the temple is going to take everything they've got. And so a guy like Haggai is trying to keep everybody's eyes on the prize. Like, this is worth our wealth and our time and our effort. Build for God's glory, obey the Lord, take courage, and work, Haggai says. Finally, in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11 through chapter 4, verse 11, they are also about a life in exile, but a little different. And I remember in seminary reading a book called Resident Aliens. And basically it was making a claim that if you're a believer, you will have moments of feeling like you are from somewhere else, because everybody else lives with different priorities and different perspective. The indifference, the opposition to God's good news will baffle people of faith. That's true now, and it was true at the time the First Peter is written. And so First Peter is saying, just expect that. Live honorably, suffer faithfully. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.